Good afternoon. It's my pleasure to share with you few of my thoughts on the learning space and in this ETHRWorld Future Skill Conference. Thank you for the opportunity. I want to share few thoughts on what we call as learning in unusual and how it can help to create a skill revolution itself. Before we go into it, want to go through certain aspects and challenges that several corporates face today. More than half of our workforce in our corporates today require significant amount of upskilling and reskilling to be relevant to our customers. More than 80% of the business leaders are saying that our business function called learning and development requires significant reimagination and innovation to be effective in their organizations. And near to 50% of the business leaders want their seniors to prioritize learning to be effective in their industry itself. And more than 1/3 of these business leaders want to increase their employee engagement in learning. Very clearly, organizations face challenges in ensuring they are able to reskill and redeploy their workforce effectively. The danger is the implications to corporates, if they are not able to pay attention to this, seems to be very, very significant. Now, more than 25% of the employees who quit organizations today clearly believe that they have not been provided an adequate opportunity for them to learn. And a significant 67% of the organizations have no ability to track whether their employees are going through the compliance requirements and have adequate awareness on them. And then, as we all agree and speak about it very often, more than 1/3 of the skills are not there today in the organization for the organization to be successful. That puts skill building as a #1 focus for many of the multinational companies that we speak to. Now, clearly we see a skill gap. Organizations believe and execute learning and development in a particular fashion. The employees expect, employees aspire in a very different fashion. Let us go through some of these skill gaps and what is the bridge one has to build in order to address these gaps itself. Organizations today believe that there has to be a year-long standardized training programs, and students and the employees in this case will enroll themselves to these training programs and go through these standardized trainings, versus the learners and the employees are looking for a very contextual learning and not a set of standardized learning. Personalized learning is the bridge one has to build in this case. Organizations today are looking at long-drawn employee development programs, whereas the employees are looking at very short, just-in-time programs that will help them to develop the skills on the go itself. The bridge seems to be just-in-time nano learning. Organizations are looking at mass-scale classroom-based learning, and employees are looking at anytime, anywhere, mobile-based learning. Mobile really becomes a classroom. So a high experience learning platform is the key bridge that needs to be built in this case. And then organizations are looking at providing the necessary learning for the current jobs, whereas the employees are looking at skills that they can acquire for the aspirational jobs. And the bridge here is to open up all the possible content and the learning tools for the employees to learn for their aspirational jobs as well. And finally, organizations do take a single intervention approach, whereas the employees are looking at continuous on the job support. The bridge seems to be a strong mix of on the job, hands on, learning from the peers, learning through formal sessions as well. So it is very critical that today's corporates develop the bridge that is key for their business success itself. So the bridges for a very strong skill foundation will have the following characteristics. We have to make skill the only currency with employees, taking more responsibility for their growth, for their learning itself. Organization needs to democratize the skills where any employee can learn anything and get the desired role because they are qualified for the role with adequate skills. Organization needs to look at a very wide range of innovative learning interventions. The pedagogies have to evolve to make the learning very impactful and engaging for the employees itself. And it is not going to be scheduled learnings. Today, employees would like to learn when they are in an electric train or in a bus, just-in-time learning for the work that is required for them when they reach the office is the call today. And finally, a technology-driven hands-on learning is going to be much more impactful rather than taking a book and understand the concepts from the book itself. So hands-on learning need to be weaved in to upskill in an effective fashion. And hence, we believe this bridging the gap has to be brought through what we call this as a learning unusual, a path to create a skill revolution. So your learning as usual will be a linear approach, will be one standard for all, will be classroom focused, and it will be an attempt to make sure the employees understand the subject extremely well. However, we have to keep in consideration that technology is evolving and has evolved very, very significantly. Learners' needs are changing dramatically. Pedagogies are being innovated daily, and we see significantly different set of contents. Could be games, could be engaging interactions, could be a community construct for content. Huge set of content formats are evolving. What it means is learning as usual need to become learning unusual, which is very personalized for our employees, because every employee has got a very different set of attributes and needs. It has to become experiential. It cannot be theoretical. It has to become multimodal, leveraging the power of content to the employees itself. And it has to become anytime, anywhere, any device, any language as well. And these aspects, these characteristics will form what we believe this to be learning unusual. How can we see that reflected in the organization? We will see learning through games, not learning through books, or not learning through videos. It could be learning through games. It could be learning through short interactive videos. It could be learning through doing. It could be a scenario based. It can be story based, human stories. It could be podcast. It could be assessments. It can be interactive sessions, simulations, and so on and so forth. When these things get incorporated, learning truly becomes an unusual activity, and the impact will be very much seen in employees being responsive to their changing customer requirements, demonstrating a much higher productivity for the organizations, and the organization evolving to be an agile organization. I'd like to wish all the participants, when you go back, that you will take some stance from this conversation of learning unusual and be in a position to implement the same in your organization. Good luck to all of you. Thank you very much for the opportunity.